We Danielle and I, we took, we take Friday and most of Saturday off in a sort of sweet understanding. I mean, we do it our way. It's kind of our way of understanding Shabbos, and we took the opportunity to watch a movie. We had a choice of two movies, but we didn't want to spend for the one on Amazon Prime. We decided to watch Nuremberg. Is that the title of it?
Yeah.
Nuremberg. And it was, though not, I wouldn't say that it was enjoyable during the watch. It wasn't one of those films that you really get lost in, especially because I wanted to analyze, and whenever I watch a movie, I wanted to analyze what the filmmakers are trying to say, and how does that mesh with our collective ideas about where we are now. Hey, Wade. Hey, Mommy Wolverine. Hey, Zenjamin. You're the best. You guys are the best. The movie was, and watching a movie is a, especially nowadays when everything is digitally oriented. Watching a movie is not, hey, Jimmy Johns, is not what I used to think of it as. Remember, I stopped watching all media for 30 years. I wouldn't touch it, and that was in alignment. I did, I broke it a couple times, but generally, I did not watch TV, movies, anything after I watched The Matrix, and this was by design. I had planned. The Matrix was the last movie I wanted to watch. Why? Because at the time I felt I didn't want to have. I had heard that if you watch a movie, your mind doesn't really understand whether it's watching a movie or having the experience yourself. I wanted to I did not want to live a vicarious existence. I did not want to live somebody else's fantasies. I wanted to have my own adventures. So I consciously decided I would stop watching media. This was after, I used to make it a thing every Friday night. I would watch a movie, on TV or whatever, or rent a movie. In those days, we had DVDs, I think they were called, right? We would rent a movie. Hello from Arizona Collective, Wade. So I stopped watching movies. I got blocked somehow here again, and now able to chat again. That's good. Yeah, I don't I if you guys get blocked, let me know. Send me an email. I'm gonna set up a new email. By the way, Danielle wants me to set up an email that's separate for LifeWave issues, and I want to talk about LifeWave tonight because I put out a video today, and I think it's a very important thing to keep in mind. Don't want to watch the garbage out of Hollywood. Right. However, and that was my philosophy for 30 years. And boy, did I have adventures. That it was during that period that I became religious, and I ended up in Crown Heights. I went to yeshiva. I ended up having a very long and quite delightful experience amongst the Hasidim in New York City for 25 years. I get communications from my old friends. I still keep in touch with them a little bit, but and my son is certainly involved in that community. But that was in alignment because they don't, at least publicly, they don't watch movies much. They want to spend their time learning Torah and enjoying the good life, which being Hasidic is a very good life because you're studying Getlichkeit, which means you're studying godliness in a language that where things that are godly have a word. They're not, it's not like you would have to explain a godly concept I'm trying to think of a good easy example, but in other words, in English you would have to spend a few sentences describing something. In Hebrew, it's already there's a word like tachlis. I hope I'm pronouncing it right. I don't know. Yeah, tachlis. So tachlis means your purpose, but it also means your intent, and it means a lot of things that would take a few sentences to explain in English. But let me go back right back to the point that I'm making. During this time, right? So I was involved in this experience, but I did not watch a lot of entertainment. It's just not something that the community is big on. It doesn't. There are some people who do it, but generally it's frowned upon. However, now I when I watch a movie, it's not anymore for enter. I mean, it is some movies I do find entertaining, not many. We watched a series recently that was I thought was very entertaining. What does entertainment mean? It means that you're taken out of your body. You suspend disbelief, and you kind of feel like you're involved in the experience. When the main character is getting hurt, you get upset. This is the kind of thing that I was really against in the old days. I didn't want to have that experience, but now, as Daniela and I, and certainly this whole community, we spend all or a lot of our time thinking about where is the collective. Where we go one, we go all means where you go, everyone else goes. So if you're it 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 we want to know not only where the collective is holding, where the good guys are holding, where general consciousness of humans, of this evolving species of isbies, immortal, spiritual, biological entities, is going. But I personally, and I'm sure you have the same experience now too, I want to know sometimes where the bad guys are holding. Like if you watch a movie, I'm trying to think of a good example. Well, we watched this thing called Magus. You call it Magus?
The maggots.
Magus.
Magus.
Magus. The To see, like, this is an older movie, but to see where the Hollywood creepazoids, what they're thinking, and I know this was a movie that had a profound the book had a profound effect on me when I first learned about it. But they say it's loosely based on like a Jeffrey Epstein Island kind of situation. A very very interesting book. At least I found it so. I read it. Gosh, it could have been in the 70s. I'm not sure. But now I watch a movie with the idea of either what are the bad guys trying to tell us? What are they revealing to us? Like a movie like um A- Avador, Avador, not Avador. You know what I'm saying? The one about um it's on the tip of my tongue, but the movie about the race of people that's being destroyed by and this is what's the word for that? What am I searching? You know what I'm talking about. The movie in the woods, Avador, Av something. I have a mental block, but you probably know what I'm talking about. In this movie, they give us really it potentially at least uh, Avatar. Avatar. Thank you, Mommy Wolverine. Avatar. In Avatar, they give us a possible history, like a real history, like the creepazoids are telling us. You once had beautiful trees, big beautiful trees. You once were totally connected to spirit. You once had this life, and we came and destroyed it. We took down all your trees. I mean, when I drive out here in the West Coast, you see these places that are obviously, humongous trees that we can't even imagine anymore. We can't think about a tree that big, but Avatar really gives you an insight into a possible history that was taken away from us. So now that I watch movies, it's not to escape reality because I'm very happy living in reality. I totally enjoy it. I wouldn't want to miss a minute. We were working today. We're putting a floor, like a more solid floor, on our second floor of our house right now. It is so much fun, and the view up there is. This is our reality. We do it together. Daniela hands me my tools, and we look at it, and we at the end of the job, and we just finished planting our garden, and we're learning from that experience. We're learning, well, how do you grow things in the desert? And we don't know how to grow things in the desert, but we're learning by trial and error. But this is the reality that I love, so I don't want to escape reality. However, the movies give you an opportunity to examine consciousness now, as opposed to 30 years ago. I was like, I watched The Matrix because I understood what The Matrix represented. And then I said, I'm not going to watch movies again. And I didn't. And it was a very productive period for me. But now, when we do watch movies, which is not that often, I mean, we don't watch a movie every week. We maybe watch a movie every couple of weeks. Now, when we watch a movie, it's to analyze the consciousness that is represented by the film. So I was afraid watching the title Nuremberg. I thought, well, this is just going to be a anti-German or it's just going to be like the movies we saw that I saw growing up in the mid 50s and early 60s, where the bad guys were really bad and the good guys were really good, and there was no nuance, no complication. This was now we're finding out this was a total propaganda move from the deep state. They wanted to keep us geared up and emotional and hating and loving, but basically they wanted to keep us so emotionally busy that we wouldn't notice that they're stealing the ground from underneath our feet. So now that I watch movies, it's a very complex with complex desires. It's not simply to escape. It's to analyze the movement of consciousness across time. So Nuremberg, I was very afraid it was going to be like a 50s, 60s movie where the Nazis were so bad and the good guys were so good, and but I found it very nuanced and very interesting and very telling in a kind of a weird way, revealing the authorship that seemed to have possibly connection to the deep state. Now, I don't know if the white hats are making movies now. I sort of doubt it. I don't know. I don't know. But it's interesting. But this wasn't a kind of flat two-dimensional examination. It was a very interesting movement in consciousness. And like I said, while watching, it was a long movie, it's over 2 hours. I did not enjoy watching it. It wasn't for me fun in any way. It was like, okay, so where are they going with this? What are they trying to say? What is the it reminded me in kind of a weird way of this thing, Flight Plan, where the movie itself was very disturbing and not much fun, but and this is true of a lot of the movies, they're very much nuanced these days, and at the end of the movie, you have we've really grown up a lot. despite the deep state and their dumbing down the education, at least those of us who were paying attention. So I thought this Nuremberg was very interesting because it was told from the point of view of a psychiatrist who was, what was the Nazi's name again?
I don't know.
Okay, it was there were it was a it was a it was about, you probably saw it already. I mean, we don't watch many movies, but it was taken from the point of view of a psychiatrist or psychologist who was examining, who was getting really into the minds of these mass murdering Nazis. And he came up with the conclusion that these were like, that these were not monsters, that these were regular folks, and that anyone, or that a lot of souls are capable of this kind of monstrosity. And now we are seeing, even though this wasn't the point, they were kind of saying it's just like human nature, detracting us, it's leading us away from noticing that no, yes, the Germans were manipulated, in my way of thinking, by these deep state monsters, by these Satanists, and that it is not. I do not agree with the conclusion of the film that anybody could be a mass murderer. This is simply not true. No human can do this, but humans either influenced or that are hybrid reptilians have no problem killing off tens of millions of people. So the conclusion of the movie from the collective was that this was a specific event. These Nazi, Himmler, whatever his name was, these people were isolated examples of a people's gone wrong. And that the conclusion of the psychiatrist is that this could happen anywhere. And that was the viewpoint that the collective needed to hear. That it was the Germans, they're bad, they were horrible psychopaths, and they killed the Jews because they hated the Jews. I noticed, by the way, when I'm dealing with real issues, this is, I'm discussing things that not everyone is capable of understanding, in my opinion, or else else they're shadow banning me so heavily that I can't seem to get my head above water in terms of broadcasting, whereas somebody like some idiot like Ian, I don't want to mention names. I don't want to go there, but I'm leading into that. I'm leading into how this message has been carried over into our day and time. Right? They're still using the Jewish people as this kind of love-hate thing. There's a lot of people complaining, and I've seen a couple of these MAGA people that are suddenly saying Trump is just a lapdog of the Jews and all this nonsense. This is the deep state at their trickiest, at their shape-shifting best. They want to get us to hate Trump and to hate the Jews for manipulating reality and all this other stupidity. Whereas the real enemy is the money behind these films, is the NGOs. I just saw a video from Scott Bessent saying that these people, they steal our money and they put it back in their own pockets. They finance themselves with our money. This is pure evil. I don't show my. So let's see if I can kind of unpack what I'm trying to say. In my way of looking at things, and I've been studying this almost nonstop for 8, 9, 10 years, probably my whole life. trying to understand how the world is is being directed, and how and why. And it made absolutely no sense to me, the level of suffering on the planet, until recently. Now it makes perfect sense to me. This suffering is being produced consciously by this evil hybrid force that eats us, eats our children, that directs us away from our own power to manifest beautiful, godly lives, rich in relationships and rich in connection to the natural world, and to a higher spirit, which is our birthright. So in the old days, I was like, it doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. There's so much pain and suffering. And that's why, in my opinion, and I'm not denigrating or putting down a religion, but a lot of people really like the Jesus Christ story, because it says you were born to suffer, and that's what my suffering is. It's just because God loves me, and or something like that, or that I'm set, that I'm here to suffer, but it's a very godly thing to suffer. I don't think it is. I mean, I don't think it's necessary to appreciate godliness, to feel a sense of, well, I'm born to suffer. But that's what the creepazoid parasites want you to feel. And that's all these religions have, that element of, you have to just give up your own ego to serve the master and all this other bullshit. He came, he died for our sins. I mean, what kind of bullshit is? I'm sorry. I mean, I'm not. If you believe in this, that's a separate issue. I'm not talking about your belief, your innocent, loving belief in a certain narration. That's a beautiful thing. And like I said, I spent 25 years in the Orthodox Jewish community, and I really respect the people. I really loved every moment of it. It was an unbelievably rich experience. But now we understand the world in a different way. There have been revelations, real revelations of information. And we are coming into the storm. We are coming, in my opinion, into the period where we will see tribunals like Nuremberg. Remember, in this movie, Nuremberg, the whole point was that, what are people, we have to present a certain viewpoint so this doesn't happen again. We have to say the Germans were monsters. This is kind of the conclusion. And that's why all this happened. It's because we never want to have a Holocaust again. Now, since the Holocaust, and I'm not a Holocaust denier at all, I know it happened. I know 6 million Jews were killed. But the Holocaust was small potatoes compared to the Holocaust that just took place, where 85% of humanity took the death jab. Now, are they all 85% to the die-off? I don't know. I don't think so. But there's certainly, it seems to me, there are a lot less people these days, at least maybe I'm out in the, of course, where I live, there's not a lot of people. It'll never again, never again, never again, never again. The Georgia Guidestone said that we will kill off 85 or 95% of humanity, and we will keep a stable population of a couple of whatever it was. They say these are Satanists, these are reptiles, these are creepazoids. This is another race. This is the sons of Cain. Cain was raped by this snake creature. I mean, Eve, in my opinion, seemed to be, at least that's the narration, was raped by this snake creature, and produce an offspring named Cain, and that these are the sons of Cain. But is that actually 100% true? I don't know, and I don't care. It really, I'm not one of these people that, like, this is what I believe in. This is the truth. And when people find out, I've gone through so many phases of the truth that the actual substance of any particular truth is, to me, a temporary examination of a certain thought, situation, narrative, and once I understand the workings of this particular viewpoint, I'll move on to another viewpoint. That's the nature of my consciousness. I don't rest in one place. I did rest in one place for 25 years, but that's what my spirit needed in order to go to the next place. So never again will we allow this level of evil to exterminate us is a bunch of bullshit, because they have exterminated, whether or not these people are actually in a graveyard or eaten or in a McDonald's burger is not the point. They have manipulated 85% of humanity. They have taken away their ability to understand godliness, to understand their functioning creative potential. There are 15% of us left. This has been a Holocaust that makes the other Holocaust look like kindergarten. Looks like a puppy show. And there were no guns, there were no mass graves, there were none of that. People went into their doctor and said, "Doc, I need a vaccine, I need a booster. I don't want to be a human anymore." They didn't know they were doing that, but that's the effect of what happened. They were shot up with nanoparticles. I'm going into a slight advertising thing, and I realize that this is important, and it's not just that I'm trying to make money. It's that this is a deep point, that they are actively trying to kill us. If they don't kill your body completely, they want to make you a transhuman by putting enough nanoparticles or heavy metals into your system that you won't be able to create a connection to the unifying force that is, to the ether, to the God force. So this, never again will we let this evil. It's too late to say that. It's happened again, and it's happened a lot worse than it did the first time. They got more clever about it. Instead of just killing, as they said in the film, tens of millions of young men on the battlefield, they just had us surrender to our doctors to get vaccinated. They put it in our food. They put it in our air. They put it in our water. They put it into human beings. So, yes, the Georgia Guidestones were destroyed, but 85%, by the way, the same percentage of people of Yidden, I don't like to use the word Jew because there's no J in Hebrew, of the 70, I'm sorry, only 20%, a very similar number to 85%. Only, they say, 20% of the Yidden in Egypt wanted to be free. So you might conclude to yourself that, okay, these people died spiritually by getting injected with nanoparticles. They died spiritually because they couldn't handle freedom. They made that choice. Their spirits, their higher selves understood what they came here to do, and they did what they came here to do. So you might think it's not such a tragedy. This is what these souls were designed to do, and that very well could be. I am not on that level that I really understand these things, but it is important that we understand what we're dealing with here. So my point in this is that in my research, and I'm going to do some shameless hustling, man, and it's not really because I want to make money, but it's because I want to share a particular idea, and that is that 15%, and not just the 15%, but whoever gets this message, and they're not a hell of a lot of people that listen to me. I had 60,000 on YouTube. I was growing, and then I started talking about the vax, and that was it. That was I don't know, 5 years ago. I don't know how many years, 3, 4 years ago. And I've never been able to get to. They never allow me to expand. They allow Ian Carroll to expand. They allow Candace Owens, I've heard. I don't know that much about her, but a lot of these people have reformented this kind of idea that Trump is a Jew lover and he's doing this all for the Jews, and which is just, it's totally irrelevant. It has nothing to do. It's a total distraction from the reality of this situation, which is that we finally see the real enemy. The real enemy is not the Jews. It's not the Arabs. It's not the Christians. It is the deep state. It is the Satanists that run every aspect of this world. By the way, this is not a black pill. My conclusion to all this is a conclusion of hope and peace, and that we are coming to the end of this situation. But it was not for everyone. Q said the ending is not for everyone. And I used to be like, why would Q say that? We want everyone to be free. Well, some people have chosen not to be free. They were so embedded in the matrix. I knew a good handful, or I knew a lot of people who said, Ellie, I have to travel. I have to get the vaccine. Ellie, I don't want to lose my job. I have to get the vaccine. If you made that kind of choice, you were saying, listen, man, my religion is the matrix, and I'm in it. I can't see beyond it. Were these evil people? Not in my opinion. They were loving, very loving, regular folks. However, whether you were vaccinated or not, they are still pursuing the idea of shooting you up with nanoparticles, either in your food, in the air. And see, a couple of days ago, I was thinking, okay, they stopped the chemtrails. Then they just started again. They haven't given up. This is the last, in my opinion, this is the Battle of the Bulge. This is D-Day. This is the last big fight. The deep state is putting every little bit of information. They are perverting the news. They are making it sound like Trump's a loser. They're making it sound like Trump's just doing this all for the Jewish people. All this other bullshit to keep you from noticing that the real enemy is dying in front of your eyes. The real enemy has been routed out. And all that's left to happen, and this is the good news, is for us to rise up. How do we rise up? All you got to do is, and I put out this video with 3 points. Join the Republic. Join the Republic.
My dad joined.
He joined Daniela's dad, who was in the Navy most of his life, joined the Republic. He kept saying to us, are they going to ask me for money? We're like, no. You're taking part in the Republic. Our government was stolen from us in the 1800s. We don't know they're from the Republic. But the first thing is, I said 3 points. 1, join the Republic. Very easy, simple. Empower yourselves and empower the Republic. The constitutional state that we deserve, the godly way of living, the divine, all these legal mandates and ordinances will disappear like so much snowflakes in the Arizona desert in March. I mean, it wouldn't even hit the ground. Things are so dry and hot, during the day. Join the Republic. That's number one. Two, start to divorce yourself from the matrix. I don't know what that looks like for you. I know what it looks like for me. You saw Conspiracy Amazingly Evil? Yeah, I have to see. You got that down, baby?
What?
Conspiracy? There's a movie called Conspiracy. I had trouble trying to register, so try again. Just keep trying. Just go back. I had trouble registering too. There's a little, it's a very simple website. You just click the thing on top. You go to the website, click the thing, it'll come up with it like, do you want to join the Republic? And then it says, ask for your name, your email address, your phone number, whatever it does, and then send it in. Now, if they didn't get back to you, do it again, because I don't know what this organization looks like. I know they've been under attack from they've been infiltrated. But we need to join the Republic, and they were told that when a certain amount of people get into the Republic, they will enact Jassara elections and Jassara law. So that's number one. Join the Republic, and if it's people. It's people. It's not like this is a big AI operation. You're dealing with people. The second thing is, start to imagine, start to manifest a world where you do not live in the matrix. This is important. You should have food supply. You should have enough food to last a couple weeks. You should have clean water. You should be ready. You should start thinking, what's it going to be like when I don't have my job? They're saying the jobs are all going to go away. All these accountants, lawyers, doctors, they're going to be out of work. Those jobs are useless. They're pencil pushers. They're bean counters. They only give you these jobs to keep you busy enough so you don't figure out that the world is run by a bunch of Satanist creep pedophiles who eat children just to keep you busy. They don't need your money. They can print, at least in the old days, they were able to print their own money. They don't give it, and they probably, who knows? I don't know about that. That's a whole nother subject. And three, get start putting the LifeWave patches on your body. Forget about health insurance. Health insurance, maybe if you get into an emergency situation, you get into a car crash, you might need health insurance. But why would you want to go to a doctor who has already tried to kill your soul with the vaccine? Yeah, man, he gets paid for it. He's your doctor. What does he know? They take a half hour of nutrition in medical school. You're going to ask this guy about health? He doesn't even know what to eat. But these patches, why do you make these patches? And I'll tell you which patches I think everyone should be putting on every day. X39 stimulates stem cell production to repair your body. Glutathione patch. Glutathione will destroy nanoparticles, heavy metals. It will neutralize them and get them out of your body. 3, Eon. Why? Because Eon keeps your body and your mind from extreme pain, from inflammation. The Eon patch, X39, and the glutathione patch, the master antioxidant. We did a health show the other day and people said, I never heard of glutathione. I never did either. I've been getting educated by Dr. Stacy. She meets with us every week. She says, yeah, glutathione is a master antioxidant. I've heard her say that 1,000 times, and now I understand. Because I thought we had won the war and the chemtrails were passing a law, and this may be, we don't know, but I only know what my eyes can see. And what I saw today and yesterday was a continued effort to poison our skies. And I don't believe, if you want to say it's the good guys, I think the good guys, if the good guys are doing that, I think they would have let us know in some way. This is not the good guys. This is the last of the deep state. Just like they had a shooting in Michigan, this is the false flags. They will do the articles on the Wall Street Journal that Trump is an idiot. All these. This is the last of their ammo. This is the last of their ammo. They are desperate. They are a dying governance. They are a dying way of life. We are destroying the deep state, in my opinion. This is happening. And soon we are going to see public arrest. And we are going to have to see if we have grown since Nuremberg to a point. And by the way, Nuremberg, they killed something like 20 people. The rest of the people went to America and started working in the corporations. And who really perpetrated the Second World War? Was it really the German, these impoverished? They were just the useful idiots, in my opinion. The Rockefellers, the Rothschilds, the Henry Ford was big involved investment. All these American investors built Germany up from nothing to become a major superpower and a threat to our way of life. They wanted the Nazis to win. And they did. They did win because they simply just surrendered and then went underground. They went to Antarctica. They set up camp in Antarctica. Operation Paperclip took their best and brightest and moved them into our governments, our corporations, our intelligence operations, the CIA, the FBI. This is all run by Nazis. It's amazing. It's amazing because what I'm saying now is so powerful and so important. And I don't get that many people. If I was talking about XRP and Candace Owens, if I was mentioning names and dissing people publicly, I would have maybe I'd be like a major broadcaster. I don't want to do that. I'm not interested. But I would recommend that people, that you take your health seriously. And your health insurance is basically throwing money away. But if you really want health insurance, get those 3 patches: Eon for inflammation, glutathione to eat up all those nasty nanoparticles and heavy metals and neutralize them, and X39 to stimulate stem cell productions. Now, if you want to go to a doctor and get stem cells shot up for thousands of dollars or whatever, those stem cells don't last. They have a very short half-life. If you get shot up with glutathione, it's also a very short half-life. Here you have your body itself stimulating the production of glutathione, of stem cells, and of, reducing inflammation. In terms of reducing inflammation, Dr. Stacy's been talking about that for years. And I was just like, I don't have inflammation, man. I don't have any pain. That was before I started building a house, my own house in the desert. By the way, we now have a second floor. I'm putting down the flooring, which is just raw pine boards on the second floor. And it's like the view up there is it's worth everything we've been through to produce such a place to live. This is my dream. I did not want to live in a square box. I want to live on an earthship. I want to have gardens and goats and chickens, and all these things are coming to us, but we have to do it in a slow order. This is the sweetness of our planet, of our earth. I want to call it a planet, whatever. But our earth, our mother, an earthship, a place to live. And eventually, Danielle and I are already starting to manifest the idea of it becoming some kind of a communal, educational place where other people who don't know how to do this on their own, there are a lot of people who do, but some people are, we certainly never learned it in school. I just happened to learn how to garden from watching my father, and some other things. I learned how to be a carpenter out of the blue after getting a graduate degree in creative writing at a fancy university, which was a complete waste of money and time. Well, it wasn't a waste of money and time because it directed me in another direction. I decided I want to be a carpenter, and I was a carpenter for 20 years before I became a school teacher. So I luckily I have the knowledge and the skills to be able to do this, but not everyone does. So eventually people will come here and we will collectively share our information. Some people can teach us how to do sourdough breads and help us with the cooking. And I've been to communes. I've been to at least two, but I've also been to gatherings and stuff. I've seen communal operations in place, and I also have some connection to Thomas Paine. I don't know how, and because he was very into ideal living and idealized in these communal situations. But I studied him. I did some papers on him when I was uh, in probably in grammar school. Okay, so join the republic, get those 3 patches. You have to be I think you have to be aggressive in this approach to keep your health, to not be one of the 85%. And if you are one of the 85%, start taking it seriously. Now, taking these 3 patches is just the beginning. Eon, glutathione, X39. Then you may want to get X49, but also you want to change your diet. You don't want to be cooking in Teflon coated pans. You don't want to be using plastic. You don't want to be drinking from plastic water containers. You want to be growing your own food so you know for sure it's organic. I think at some point, or at least have a connection to somebody who does grow their own food. This is where we're heading. We're heading to a kind of a primitive lifestyle with heavy duty high technology. I'm sure in a few years I will not be spending 45 minutes to an hour driving my truck to Kingman. I will simply get into my airship and as the crow flies, it'll probably take me 10 minutes to get to Kingman. I'll go to their airport, which will be converted into to accepting this new type of transportation, and I'll keep my car there, and I'll go and or whatever. I'll have another. It'll all be easy. It'll all be streamlined, just like it's streamlined now with Amazon, and it's streamlined in order to benefit Walmart, to benefit the creepazoids, so that you can have what you seem. It seems like you can get what you need, and you're so busy with it that you don't notice that they're stealing your kids and feeding you fast food. You eat fast food, man. You're eating kids, basically. That's what I understand. Soylent Green. Okay, so with all this said, the 3 points: join the republic, make sure you are starting to envision a world beyond your job, your car payments, like I said, I don't pay taxes, I don't pay insurance, I don't deal with any of that bullshit. I I don't even deal with traffic tickets, I don't deal with car registration. Am I an official sovereign citizen? No, I didn't get the certification. I don't want to be involved. You have to make your choice, but you should be, in my opinion, or I should be, let's say I should be continuing to grow as an independent, as a person who no longer has the option to live in the matrix, because the matrix may very well implode, or the matrix may continue. And there, all these people that have become transhumanoids will enjoy the rest of their days living in the matrix. Like, if you ever saw the TV show The Prisoner with Patrick McGowan, the retired secret agents would go to this place called the Village, and this is really the story of our lives. And everything was hunky dory until you tried to escape. You couldn't escape from the Village. I think it was called the Village. That's how we live. We live in the matrix, and you can't escape easily. but you can. So now, with all that said, I don't know if any of that made sense to folks, but it didn't make sense. I don't have. So a couple of months ago, there were like thousands of people on my live show. I forget what it was. It was probably because I was talking about specific things. And here's where people are just fucking brain dead. You think you're gonna figure out like what's really going on by the news? Either the white hat news or the black hat news. You think, yes, you could figure it out if you have an open mind. In my opinion, you could kind of start to put the pieces together. But if you still get all excited because the Treasury Secretary was called away during the middle of a meeting and it has to do with Israel, you're missing the whole point of everything that I've said and the whole essence of what we're going through as a species. This is an evolutionary moment. We're about to ascend to a higher level. And and that's what I'm saying. People still get excited. They're still on the train. They're still deciding whether they want to get on the ascension train. The Holocaust train, yeah, we all want 85% of humanity. Just like, yeah, man, I'm on. We just give me my I got my computer in my hand. I'm entertaining myself with my little games or whatever it is. I'm not it is enticing. I spend a lot of time on my cell phone, but we are coming now into a time of maximum reveal. So yeah, so you could sign up. Just my advice is, if you sign up, don't shop, but join and buy a decent starter kit, like a core package or more, and join the Operation Health, man, and getting good health. When I talked to Norman on the LifeWave show, on our lifestyle show, I said, Norman, does glutathione eat up these nanoparticles? He says, absolutely. Absolutely. So what else do you need to know? So you should, and there are other ways. I'm not saying that's the only way. They're saying things like nicotine patches could kill the nanoparticles, nanokinase. There's a whole bunch of things. But the point is that no one is going to come to you. Your doctor is not going to come to you with a shot to make sure your health is good forever. In fact, it's quite the opposite. They're going to give you a shot that will guarantee you will get sick and die before you need to. Guaranteed. That's his whole purpose. He's a drug pusher. He represents the pharmaceutical companies, and they are invested in keeping you sick. There are cures for cancer. They're all over X. You want to cure cancer? Don't go to your doctor. In my opinion, I'm not, I can't, I'm not allowed to say that I'm not a medical expert. But the medical experts are not medical experts either. They're drug pushers. Anyway, I'll whatever. I don't want to go into that one. But I need mods. Yeah, moderators. Yeah, we have trolls. Troll alert. Okay, Texas for life. Where is this bastard? I don't see him. Texas for life. Here we go. Okay, Texas for life is gone. Thank you so much for alerting me. George Chestnut flying car folded into a briefcase when he got to work. Yeah, it's going to be like that soon. And now they're talking about tribunals. So the Nuremberg was a warm up for the tribunals which are coming. What is important here is not whether or not they get justice. I mean, that's important. And that was the point of the Nuremberg. They must be brought to justice. They weren't. 20 people. They totally misled humanity by saying, okay, we're going to kill them all 20. And then 10 zillion went to work in America and took over the world. And as a distraction, so you didn't notice that you are you're cattle on a cattle ranch. Brian Best Coffee. This is Wyatt Earp, a very nice blend of beans. Wyatt Earp was a character that lived in Prescott, Arizona, and he still has descendants there that Brian knows. So he comes by that honestly. So anyway, get with the LifeWay patches. If you need to call Dr. Stacy, she's there for you. Just it'll take 3 minutes. She'll have you signed up. Same with the Republic for USA. It'll take 2 minutes. You click it on, you fill out the information, and you're in. If you don't hear from anyone, do it again until you do. That's what I would say. Stay sane. More power to you with your magical life. Thank you, Valerie. Yeah, I mean, it takes somebody who's totally insane to keep you sane. I mean, I don't consider myself like sane in that respect. I've always said for years, I said, if you're really normal, no, if you're really, if you're really not, if you're really normal, you're really sick, that kind of thing, with what they call bio cyber interface. Right. It's pathetic. It's disgusting. Listen, if the remnants of humanity live on my little farm, then that so be it. I am not laying down my sword. I'm not backing down. And neither are you. I'm sure you are. But make your preps. Start to imagine, what if the whole world just collapses tomorrow? I think, according to Elon, we're still going to have resources. We're going to have tons of resources, as AI will be doing a lot of the dirty work. Do I have a problem with that? I don't, because I'm not really affected by AI. At least, I mean, maybe I'm too pompous, but on the other hand, I do see AI working, making a very good case that they are human. Like this, the Chinese dude who put all the films about silver. I think, and this guy Harry the Soul Coach. Harry the Soul Coach just came out with a video that said the Bushes were CIA. They were great dudes, man. These were good people. I'm like, Harry, who's paying you? What are you doing? I never liked the guy. I honestly, he just grated on me. He was like a little too happy. Anyway, the tribunals are coming. We're all getting ready. Transhuman will be followed by posthumanism. Yeah, okay, but I'm not involved with that. I'm choosing to stay human, and so should you. And you should, if you have to up your glutathione level to make sure you don't have nanoparticles, if you have to patch with nicotine, if you have to take nanokinase, if you have to change your diet so you're not eating their food that is full of these kinds of poisons.
You could do carnosine too.
What?
Carnosine too is another antioxidant.
Carnosine is another antioxidant. If you really want to get with it, and I recommend you do, you should take the glutathione patch and the carnosine patch. These are master antioxidants, and they'll clean out all these poisons. We are staying human. I don't care what anybody says. I will not be defeated. I am an immortal, spiritual, biological entity. God forbid I lose this body, I'll be back. This is not my first trip to this place. And we will win. We will win. Just like only 20% of the Yidden left Egypt, but they became the people. They became this race of people. Now, have they had difficulties ever since? Yes. In my opinion, they've been hand selected by the creepazoids to be the endless victims. And Christians too. Christians are fed to the lions, man. I mean, they're killing off Christians. They're killing off Jews. They're killing off. I don't know if Arabs get killed off. I guess they do too. Probably if you go against Sharia law. Listen, the people of Iran, the Persians, couldn't wait. They can't wait to get rid of these bastards. And it's not Islam. I mean, it is Islam. That's the deep state using Islam as their army. But this is a deep state operation. This is the CIA. This is the FBI. This is the Nazi remnant, the remnants of the Nazis, their best and brightest that didn't go to Antarctica. This is the deep state. This is the Illuminati. This is reptilian hybrids. These are sons of Cain. These are parasites. They are bureaucrats. They are transhuman. We don't need to worry about them. That's not my worry. My worry, which is not really a worry, it's a pleasure, is can I figure out how to get a seed to sprout in the Arizona desert when it doesn't rain very often. Now, the seeds I put in right before a rainstorm, they went wild. They're all little plants now. Oh, I have radishes and carrots that are just like, hey man, we're not going anywhere. But I just put down a bunch of seeds and I've been watering them twice a day and nothing seems to happen. So I have to, I have to change my tactic. That's my worry. And it's not a worry, it's a pleasure. But to worry about my tax payment and my car payment and is the world coming to an end and is AI taking over? None of that. That shouldn't even be a part of your day. That should just be like, fair. I don't go there. Are you seriously going to try to think about how the world is coming to an end when I'm enjoying this beautiful day? You got to be nuts. I'm talking inside my own head. I'm like, I don't go there anymore. I've been there. I know what it looks like to live like the world is coming to an end. It's not. It's coming to a beginning. We finally see the real enemy, and it's not the German people, in my opinion. Yes, the German people are useful idiots, but could you blame them? They were completely bankrupted and, whatever. Were they all Jew haters? I don't know. Did they exterminate a lot of Jews? I think so. But who really is responsible for this? It is the deep state. It is the dark force behind it. They say that Adolf Hitler was into black magic in the 1920s. He had meetings and he was, this is a satanic offshoot of this whole satanic operation that is now coming to an end. Is it coming to an end for everyone? I don't know. I don't care. I'm going to have a great day tomorrow. I had a great day today. I'm building a floor in my house. I'm building a house in the desert, and it's beautiful. Millionaires could not buy a house like my house. It's totally nothing like any house. Everything is, Daniela won't even let me buy. They sell this insulation at Home Depot that's like 80% cotton denim. She won't. She says, no, what's the other 20%? We're not putting that in our house. This is all like sawmills and discarded lumber and sliding glass doors that nobody wanted, and they sold to me for $50-$25. And it looks like it's where do you see what it looks like from the second floor? But this is not something that takes millions of dollars. This is within everyone's reach if that's your dream. It's not for everyone. We've been up here, Daniela said, for a year now, and we just got our water. After a year, we got our well hooked up. I'm having problems with my generator now, but everything is, we have a garden, we have a bunch of fruit trees. We're digging places for more trees. We want to put nut trees. We want to try all these different things. We want to try growing avocado. We want to try growing citrus. Is it going to be an easy thing? No, but this is the pleasure of creation. And this is why we're here. Now, you may not want to go out and buy a piece of property in the middle of the Mojave Desert. I didn't even know what I was getting into. You may want to I don't know. I have a friend in what town is Chase in? What do you call that? There's a community called Arcadia Farms. I think they're into Christianity, but they raise goats. There is we have a follower. I think her name is Joan, right? Is it Joan?
Yeah.
Joan, who follows that lives on this It's like a commune. So you could hang out with them and learn how to grow fruit trees and learn how to deal with solar panels. And if you don't want to just jump into it the way I did, I have an experience. I have 20 years of experience in construction, so it wasn't that scary for me. I know what tools I need. By the way, today I actually I bought a pulley system for $80. $80. Can you imagine? It included a 50-foot rope and two really amazing pulleys. And I was able to take my compound miter saw, which weighs a friggin' ton, and attach it to a hook and wheel it up to my second floor. Now my compound miter saw, which I love. It's the only saw. I have a skill saw, but I want to get a sawzall, a cordless sawzall, but that's another thing. But I got to pull it. You can do stuff. We're not useless. You don't have to be an expert. I had to look on videos. I had to look on, like, I don't know how to use this thing. It's got all these. It's got like each pulley had two pulleys on it. I'm like, I don't know. What do I attach to what? I didn't know. So I looked at a video. I looked at a diagram. It says, okay, this one goes to this, and I took my compound miter saw and I said, Danielle, can you just stand there and make sure it doesn't bump against the floor? And we got it up. It's up there. I just, and I'm, because I know because I understand myself. I'm a finished carpenter framing a house. So sometimes, because I'm such a noodlehead, because I'm a little obsessive about wanting to make cuts just so, it'll take me 4 times. I have to cut it 4 times because I want it to fit in really tight. Okay, you don't have to be so obsessive about it if you want to do this kind of life. And maybe you'll come visit us when we get set up. Maybe you'll come visit us and you'll say, well, Ellie, I've never really understood how to frame a window. And I'll say, look, I'll show you how to do it. It's really not rocket science. It's very simple. I've been putting in windows for 40 more and plus years. I used to take out old windows and put in new windows. That was pretty much most of my business. And then I got into building little additions and this kind of thing. But none of this is growing a garden. How do you grow a garden? Well, it's really all about the soil. It's about protecting the plants from invaders. I'm planning, at least mentally, an irrigation system that will work for us, because I'm seeing that up here, man, plants, it's a desert. Plants need a lot of watering, a lot. I thought I could get away with twice a day. It's like, I said, I'll do it at night, and then it'll still be wet in the morning. Well, it wasn't wet in the morning. It was dry as hell. It's like, it's dry up here. So you need a continuous, like a little bit of trickle going on at all times. And that's not so hard to do. The technology exists. It's not a big deal. Anyway, it is my opinion that the tribunals are coming, that people are waking up in mass, and that the final straw, and again, it is this operation, the Q operation, requires that at the end of it, remember, the end is not for everyone. At the end of it, those people who choose to move forward and to become fully human and to enjoy the fruits of intimate connection to source on all levels at all times, 24/7. Like I've said, I don't want to take time out from being with God to pray. People say, "Do you pray?" I'm like, I don't want to take, you want me to sever my connection to the one so I can take time out to pray to him? We're already having a dialogue at all times. He's like, oh, you need to do this. I mean, if you pay attention, I was just marveling at this when I went up after every day, whatever I do in the day, and it could be really little things. At the end of the day, I like to look at all the things that were accomplished during that day. So I went up on the second floor, and I noticed that one of the boards that I brought up there was already cut. I was like, damn. I mean, I don't remember cutting this board, but it had a cut like almost right through it. And I'm jigsawing the floor into place. I'm using like kind of raw lumber, but and it looks very homey, and I like that. I don't want to have a fancy floor. It's just pine boards. But I noticed that the cut fit exactly into the jigsaw piece that I was like, all I have to do is cut it off there, and it fit perfectly. How does that happen? It happens because I don't live in the fear space. When I was a carpenter and I lived in fear, nothing ever went. It was always I had to go to the lumberyard 30 times every day because we needed this piece and this piece didn't fit and nothing. If you live in fear, that's what you're going to get. But now I live in connection to source. The board was already pre-cut. It was already cut, man. I mean, but if I was in the fear space, I never would have noticed. It's like another thing. One more thing I'll say, and then call good limestone. Yeah, check into the rail institution made from rock. Yeah, I just don't want the fancy thing. Limestone paint for cooling. Yeah, hey, it's flammable. Yeah, I know about all this stuff. I only have the materials that I have. We have a limited resources, and I can't. I believe that God gives me exactly what I need at all times. So I don't really have to look for other technologies. But you should if you find it interesting. Dark roof is the latest conspiracy I've stumbled into. Dark roofing. Yeah, that makes sense, and Nancy. I think out here they paint their ceilings. They paint the plywood with some kind of white material. I don't know if Danielle will let me do that, but I'm almost at the point where I'm putting on part of my Earthship. I'll be putting on a roof above the second floor. I have a ladder on my second floor now. I could reach up to the roof. But yeah, everything's a conspiracy. You can't trust anything. Okay, so here's a video to let me get rid of this stuff. But yeah, get these patches. Let's see. Let me get rid of this. And Republic, yeah. I mean, the Republic, you got people like Nancy in the Republic. Nancy is literally an angel pretending to be a human. Although, I know there's one other thing I wanted to say. Oh, yeah. Okay, so they say in Hasidus that angels are actually on a lower level because angels don't have choice. They have to do whatever they're told. It could be that Nancy and I are, in that respect, we are like kind of like angels that we don't like. I don't feel like, well, what do I, there's so many options here. I don't go by that. I'm just like, okay, what do you want me to do today? What's the next step? I don't think about big pictures. I don't think about what I haven't even thought about what my roof is going to look like. I haven't even given it 1 second of thought because, well, I've set it up so it could go smoothly, but it's not time for that. I'm working on the floor now. That's all I have to think about. I don't have to think about, oh, what am I going to do if this happens? Forget it. Okay, so yeah, one thing that angels are actually on a lower level because they have to follow the will of God, and they don't have free will the way humans do. in that respect, Nancy definitely qualifies to be an angel because she's totally focused on the Republic. Okay, and I'm focused on just I'm not on Nancy's level. I'm just on the level of like, just tell me the next thing to do. I don't have the mind space to figure out, like, well, what kind of roofing and all that. I'm working on the floor now. Here's a story that I want to share that is biblical, and then I want to share a film that purportedly from JFK Jr. That's how we'll end this. There's a story in Nevi'im, I believe. I don't know if it's I think it's in in Prophets that, and I don't remember all the specifics. I will look it up, but there was a king of Amalek. Amalek is senseless hatred. Amalek is essentially it, maybe possibly the Satanist. That I don't know. Or Amalek to the Jewish people is those people who just hate Jews because they're Jews. That's Amalek. So there was a king. I think his name was Shlomo, but not David's son. I No, not David's son. And this king Shlomo, I think it was Shlomo, had captured the king of Amalek, the king of this tribe of people who hate for no reason. And he was told by God, you should totally destroy these people. Everything that they own, everything must be destroyed. And so, and this, I'm thinking about the tribunals, okay, that are coming up. God told this king, you wipe them out. I don't want to see a golden cup from them. If they have a golden cup, you melt it down and throw it in the river. Nothing of theirs can be saved. I'm not sure if God was said it that way, but somehow this king got it into his mind that, you know what, I'll do even better. I'll capture all these people, and I'll do better than just killing them. I'll capture them and make them part of our tribe. And God, according to the story, was furious. He said, I didn't tell you to think for yourself. He said, I told you to destroy every last vestige of this people called Amalek. So what happened was, the king was a prophet told him this. He says, God's pissed off at you, man. He says, yeah, but I did even better. I brought all these captives. I brought all this stuff back from these people. I saved it. It kind of reminds me of the story of it's a different twist on it, but the left is all blaming Trump because he didn't bomb something, and he did bomb something. Or the left, they're mentally okay. So God said he was pissed off, and I'm just amazing that on this is one of my videos that this is it's not my video, but the force that comes through me. This is like what I've said on this. What came through me on this video is, it's worth 1,000 Alex Jones, 1,000 Alex Jones, but he gets millions of hits, and I get, this. It's low for this thing, and that's okay, because that's what happens when you really give good information. Okay, so the king killed. Then he went back and he killed them all, killed everybody, except for the king of Amalek. Disguised himself as a sheep or something and ended up mating with a sheep, but he let one guy go. This is similar, in my opinion, to the tribunals, because they can't do what they did in Nuremberg, which is let's just kill 25 of the top people and then let everybody go. We'll do even better. We'll hire them into our CIA. We'll have the Bushes, that used to be whatever, the Adolf, what. We'll hire them. We'll do even better than what God said. In this tribunal, they must all be killed. They must all be destroyed. You can't do well, I'll do one better. We'll use them. We'll use them for our purposes. No, 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 no. It ain't gonna go down like that. It can't. That would be like similar to this story. They got to be the treasonous people have to be removed from our world, and that does not mean that they can transfer their consciousness to another body. That's what the Illuminati do. That's what the creepazoid parasites do. We're coming into the promised land. There is no question in my mind. The tribunals are coming. The deep state is cornered, and we're going to have trials pretty soon. However, and I said this in my last video, it's going to be rocky. It's not going to be a walk in the park. And during this time, you have the opportunity to really begin creating a new world for yourself. Let me just make sure there are no trolls here. We're an ancient nomadic tribe described in the Hebrew Bible as persistent, hostile adversaries of the Israelites, originating from Amalek, a grandson of Esau. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, exactly. In our time, Amalek, that's what, and this could be a distraction too, because the deep state wants us to focus on Trump's, just doing this for the Jews, and it's, this is Amalek. This is Amalek. But we see beyond Amalek. We see the real enemy now. I'm Scots-Irish, and I've been immersed in ancient heating cooling techniques. Everything modern is wrong. Yeah, you should send me your info, man, because I'm interested in it too. I'm trying to figure out how to do this in the desert. And I don't have the time or wherewithal to construct, or maybe eventually I will have, like walls made of dirt that are, totally insulated by. Up here, all I have is like rock and dirt. That's the whole mountaintop here was like plowed down, and there's like little like rocks between the size of like pebbles to about huge, and something like dirt. We do find, and Danielle has been digging up, we where the plants are gathered, they live on hundreds of years potentially, or at least many, many decades of cow pies that have been incorporated by the plants into beautiful soil. So we're going to be planting all of our trees in these locations. We have a large piece of property. So we're going to be putting trees probably down the mountainside and figuring out ways to protect them from Chippy. Chippy, by the way, came into close to my camp today, and I was like, Chippy, man, you and I like you, I respect you, but this is not your place, man. You got to go somewhere else. I'm not going to shoot you. I'm not going to trap you. I trapped a bunch of squirrels in Brooklyn, and every time you trap a squirrel, another one comes, takes its place. So I'm not going to trap you. I'm not going to shoot you, but I don't really appreciate it. And I would rather you go somewhere else. I said that to the snake that came up last year, Mr. It was a gopher snake. Although in retrospect, if gopher snake comes back, I'm going to be much more kind and understanding with him, because now I know it's for sure not a rattlesnake. At the time, I wasn't sure, but I basically just took a stick and moved him off our. Life is beautiful. life is stunning. You are the survivors of a great Holocaust. You are the chosen people, in a sense, more than the chosen people, because the chosen people, most of them are transhumanists now. They took a lot of them took the jab. The, that's proof that the Israeli government. I mean, October 7th is proof that you can't tell me that it's Jews against Arabs. It's deep state against Jews and Arabs, and it's Arabs and Jews being hired by the deep state to keep this whole conflict alive. And as soon as we stop disillusioning and spreading the misinformation that it's all about the Arabs or it's all about the Jews, and we start saying it's all about the Satanists, they are putting them both up. They're paying both sides to do this kind of bullshit. We're coming into the promised land. There's no question in my mind. Is it for everyone? I never understood that from Q. I understand. I feel like I understand it now, at least maybe a section of it, a little bit. And that is, not everyone wants to be delivered from the matrix and move into the promised land of unlimited resources and joy and health, long lives, beautiful. The children are going to flood the planet soon. We're going to have more kids than you can imagine. Overpopulation, my ass. And old people will be having, we're all going to be fruitful and multiply. It's stunning. I'm up to what, 148. Yeah. Usually I have 180. I mean, this is, and listen, I'm not upset. But yeah, I should get back to my girl. She's been she's very brave and giving, and she puts up with me doing this 6 days a week.
I can talk about the X money thing.
Yeah, you want to talk about it? Yeah, I think I think what?
What's involved for it to be publicly?
Oh, you mean them taking down all those bots?
Yeah.
They're taking down like millions of bots from X to get ready for this X money. I think the X money is going to be a very big thing. And
Like
by the way,
800 million.
800 million bots on or malicious actors on X are being removed. This is going to be a major pipeline for information and money. And by the way, do not sell your XRP. Do not sell your ISO 222 coins. I sold my Trump stocks. I want to buy it back. If we get cash from the Iraqi dinar, I'm going to buy a bunch of DJT again. I'm going to buy a bunch of silver, bunch of gold, bunch of XRP, XLM. I'm not discouraged at all. And even more importantly, another vehicle so that Daniela doesn't have to deal with my big old truck all the time. And maybe we'll be able to invest in some serious technologies. Yeah, Nancy, send me some info on the installation thing, because I don't really know what to do, but I'm not worried about it, because when the time comes to when we start enclosing this place, we'll figure it out. As it is, the nights are cool and the days are warm. It's March and it's like summer. Even nights are not as cool as they were in January. We're not using heat as much as we were. Hardly at all. Now, if we want to stay hot, we just close the windows in the RV. But it's a work of love. It's a work of divine inspiration. It's a work that in between, and this was something that I realized I needed. Like when I lived on the seashore, I realized if I'm not working on a video, or if I'm not working on research, or if I'm not working on whatever it is, I want to I want to look up and see beautiful, beautiful things. And I have that now, really. I mean, is it the same as the ocean? It's different, but wow. It's nice. So do not be discouraged. Things are going to get really bumpy, in my opinion, in the next couple weeks. They have to clean up this. They cannot leave some people. This has to be a total cleanup operation, just like um, the Doge thing, just like on X. Now they're cleaning up, just like in all these operations. You can't leave a few of these people left, like King Agag was left to propagate. And that's why Amalek, that's why baseless hatred of Jewish people is still alive, because this king didn't follow his dictate. He didn't kill them all. And does it sound brutal? These are not. I don't know. That's a moral question. I'm not really. I have to think about. But tannic acid to kill rust, linseed oil to protect wood. Yeah, linseed oil. Do you approve of linseed oil?
I don't know what that is.
She doesn't know what it is. But as far as rust goes, man, we don't have any. We don't have any. Cars do not rust in Arizona. There's no salt on the road, and there's no moisture. So rust is. I mean, I have some old rusty things, but they've been sitting out in the desert for probably at least a decade. Most things don't. I also have scaffolding that was been sitting out in the desert for probably at least 10 years. No rust anywhere. But yeah, Lindsay, yeah, we do want to. I want to sand down the boards that I'm putting on the floor, so at least it's smooth, and we will find something that's organic enough for my queen, Queen Daniela. Yeah, Russ never sleeps. Right, you're right. Thanks, Starfire. Yeah, I'm sorry you got axed for a while. I missed you. I was wondering where you were. Well, just let me know. You can always send me an email. I mean, but be persistent or text. If you get my phone number, just text me. You're never going to bother me. I'm always happy to hear from you guys. It's just that I can't have. I try to keep a low profile because we're just so busy up here, trying to survive in the real world. It's so much fun. All right, so let me any song you want to hear? You want to hear Language of the Heart? You want to hear New Morning or The Matrix? Leaving the Matrix. What my husband used linseed oil a lot. Yeah, I've used. I think I've used linseed oil. It's kind of smelly, but maybe it is. We'll figure it out. I'm sure Daniela will figure it out. Yeah. Okay. So I'll just play. Let me. What do I feel like playing? Let's do Language of the Heart again. Even though I don't know if Linda's here, but it's just a kind of a Matrix. Okay. Let's do Matrix. We'll do Matrix. Let's go.
Living in the city, I was paying down my bills. One flat tire and the whole thing went to hell. Credit cards for groceries, I'm deep in debt again. It's time to split this scene, walk with you, my friend. Leaving the Matrix, heading for the promised land. They stole our money, but they couldn't stop the plan. Let's go together, playing with the band. Leaving the Matrix, we're heading for the promised land. taxes, your insurance I don't need. The medicines are killing us, hospitals grow like weeds. Move into paradise, I don't need no gassy cars. Fake news, endless wars, a satanic legal bar. Leaving the matrix, heading for the promised land. They stole our money, but they couldn't stop the plan. Let's go together, playing with the band. Leaving the matrix, heading for the promised land. My friends all tell me I lost control. Left my wife and job just to run down rabbit holes. But I can tell you one thing about my fall. Where we go one, we go all. Leaving the matrix, heading for the promised land. They stole our money, but they couldn't stop the plan. Let's go together, playing with the band. Leaving the matrix, heading for the promised land. Leaving the matrix, we're heading for the promised land.
Cool. Yeah, so we're leaving the matrix, man, and it's all good. Do not listen. The black pillars, the hate mongers, the anti-Trumpsters, they're all out in full force. They got nothing left except their squeaky little rag, mama, rag, skinny little bottle to do. Well, that's all they got left is ragging. And the black pilling and the transhumanists and whatever's left of us. If you got the vax, man, just get rid of it. Get rid of the nanoparticles. Get glutathione, get the carnosine patch, get X39, reset your genes, your very genes. Get to the root of these things. Eon is just for feeling no pain. I mean, I'm up here building a house. Where do you see the second floor? It is so amazing, Nancy. I want you to. I hope someday you'll be able to come up to our second floor. It's going to be now that I got my pulley system going, man. We're going to try for one more big beam. Danielle and I. You should see the size. They're 18-foot beams that are 4 by 10. These beams, they're like this big around, and they're 18 feet high. And we have one more that's kind of a hard place to get to. But I'm tempted to just say, look, we did enough, but I don't know. We'll see what happens. Anyway, it's a glorious life, man. And being human, it's just going to get better. And even if there's just two of us left, if there's a male and a female left on earth, remember in the Bible, they had the whole thing where everything gets destroyed, Sodom and Gomorrah, and Lot's up in the mountains with his daughters. I mean, it's pretty kinky stuff, but they were fruitful and they multiplied, and that's what we'll do. If we have to start over again, we'll start over again. There's a war for our DNA, and we are going to win. because we are the children of God, of force, of source, of we're the ones who didn't take, who aren't buying the bullshit. And they're not a lot. And it's, that, and like I said, when I do a video that's like tonight's video, I think was, and it's not me, but I'm just saying it was real. I think it was spot on. I hardly get any hits on this kind of video. People want to hear, well, what's really going on. It's like, this is what's really going on. We're at the end stages of this purging of mankind, of these treasonous, murderous Satanists that eat our children. And we are coming into a new age for those of us who have held steadfast, and those of us who are working on our health, working on our wealth, working on getting out of the fear space and keeping our head clear so that we can hear the directions. If you got a bunch of fear up there, you're not going to be able to hear the directions. I just go, like I said, I'm not smart enough to make a whole plan for the house. I'm just like, hey man, now I'm working on the second floor. It's really fun up here. I don't know what, the roof. I'll think about that when the time comes. I just do the next thing. And that's, I think, all that the force really expects of us. So may the force be with you. May you realize that you are the force. May you realize we're coming into a tremendous victory. May you realize that you were chosen for this. You probably went through this many lifetimes or many experiences. You are the one. You are Neo. Do not feel discouraged. Just feel like the victory is not for everyone. Not everyone is going to go into the promised land, but you are. Remember when they left Egypt, only 20% left. Nobody knows that. That's like, 20%, 80% were like, hey man, I freedom. Come on, man. I got to eat. I got a job. Anyway, and may source be with you. May you realize that when you get out of the fear space, you're already there. It's I have to kill my ego, all that other bullshit. I don't know anything about. I'm a simple guy. Killing my ego, I don't know what that means. But I know that if I'm not thinking about scary things all the time, that I know what to do 24/7. And I have Danielle to remind me. She's like, we got to water the plants. I forgot about it. I said, gee, I forgot about it. I want to keep watering the plants every night and morning. And eventually I'll be doing a continuous drip because that's what these plants need out here. And I love my plants. They're my babies right now. Soon we'll have goats, chickens, who knows what. But we will be fruitful and we will multiply and we are going to win regardless. And hopefully they will kill the King Agog and all his minions, Amalek, whatever you want to call these Satanist creepazoids. They will be gone, and you and I will enjoy each other. Maybe someday you'll come out and we'll hang out and have a cup of coffee together. And but I won't. Even when I get old, I do not sit around and chat. I have to. For me, I like to be doing stuff all the time. The closest I get to like chilling is when Danielle and I eat. And usually, lately, we've been getting away from our cell phones a little bit and just looking at each other while we eat. We're eating outside now. We're trying to eat in the house, not in the RV now that the weather's warm. So Fungally is a movie where they cut the forest. Fungally, Fungally, you know that one? But yeah, well, but Avatar also, man. I mean, and I want to see the new Avatar movie because we had big trees. I mean, it's just if you drive around out here, you're like, that's an old tree. That's an old tree. Oh yeah, that mountain. Yep, old tree. Maybe a pyramid. Who knows? Who knows what was out here? This is the Holy Land. That's the Holy Land. That kind of talk is lost on me. I don't care. It's all the Holy Land. When you get into like concrete discussions, it's just you shoot yourself in the foot. We don't know anything. We don't know enough to say, well, this is really the way it is. I mean, we're like, I kind of think it's like Avatar, but do I know for sure? No. Anyway, may force be with you, may source be with you, may continue to create glorious lives, healthy lives, wealthy lives. God willing, I'll see you tomorrow. And let's get out there with a big smile on our face. Enjoy this and rock the world.